So I found this and it's absolutely bewildering. And you guys will see why as we're going through.
Think about your hat and the way it makes people feel because it incites fear in all those around us. Every person is afraid of that hat. I'm afraid of that hat.
You can't make this shit up. Like, no, you just can't. But I want to discuss around this because it's very interesting, right? So first of all, this lady believes that she's in the majority. Like, it makes everyone feel like she feels she's part of the normal people, like not the outlier. Most people don't have anything against someone wearing a MAGA hat. Like, at the best, if you disagree with the person, you're just going to ignore it. Like, you don't have to actively challenge something for the way they choose to dress. But it's also interesting, the fact that it's okay for the left to have phobias. Like, this is legitimately a phobia. And when people on the right would complain about the burqa, it's like, oh, how dare you complain about how women dress, right? Then they go back to the liberal values, which they use like almost as a Trojan horse. They don't believe in them, but they know the overwhelming majority of people do, so they will use the liberal values in order to appeal to the majority. But when it's something that they don't like, for example, a hat that symbolizes their opposition, they will attack it and they will say, no, you need to take it off. You need to take it off because it makes people feel afraid. And it's just interesting. Like, if I were to tell her, for example, that her shaving her head makes me feel afraid, she would look at me like I'm some sort of ridiculous person, right? Why doesn't she think that other people look at her for being ridiculous? And not to mention, like, they really don't care about human rights. They constantly talk about human rights. And when I say they, I mean the left, right? Because examples like this lady you can find all over on Twitter, like people who actually advocate for violence against people who wear MAGA hats. Like, it's not something that's uncommon to see. But usually when they talk about human rights, they talk about immigration, right? Like, when it's about immigration, they're all about human rights. All about human rights. But the moment you're talking about, like, wearing a MAGA hat, like free speech, oh, that's problematic. Freedom of expression, that's problematic. So that's like what I'm taking from this.
Keep America great. For so many people, that's racism.
Yeah, but that's because of the mainstream media's narrative that's painted Donald Trump as a racist. I don't agree with the narrative. I'm out here to try to share that that narrative is skewed.
As a human being, you should pay attention to fear and not logic.
Wait, you said pay attention to fear and not logic?
Yes.
I should have paid attention to emotions and not facts?
Yes.
Why would I pay attention to emotions when
that are real in this world.
Facts are facts.
Facts. No, emotions are real. Emotions
No, I
is
think-
one removed from spirit. I find that it is hard to trust others.
You shouldn't trust the mainstream media. You should start listening and
What
looking
media
into.
then do you suggest? That is saying don't trust knowledge to operate in darkness.
No, go look up facts. Go look up like actual statistics and facts. Look up
Emotion
Pew
is
research.
fact. Emotion is real.
but emotions change, don't they?
People keep wondering, like, why is there such a divide in the modern world between the left and the right? How can you have a conversation with such a person? Honestly, like, how can you even reach a common ground when they go like, screw your facts, I have emotions. Like, there's absolutely nothing you can add to the conversation. It reminds me when you were talking with a Christian person as an atheist, right? Like, the Christian would eventually always fall back on, like, well, I have faith. Screw your logic, screw your science, I got faith. You can't continue the conversation from that point. And it's something similar here. This is why a lot of people are saying that social justice is like a religion, it's like a cult. And I know, like, a lot of people will say, well, where is the deity? Well, Scientology doesn't have a deity. Buddhism doesn't have a deity. Like, there are religions that don't have a deity. They exist. And the more I look at the way the social justice activists, the more extreme ones, not all of them, but the more extreme ones of them, the more I look at how they're behaving, it's very akin to religious moral busybodies. And you might say, well, V, you can't just cherry pick one example. Like, look at this lady. Look how many people were around her, right? Not a single one decided to go like, well, what do you mean? Hold on, you don't represent us. Oh, no, come on, that's ridiculous. Don't say that. Not a single one. Not a single person from that crowd decided to intervene and to say, all right, come on, that's ridiculous, right? Because it's their team versus the enemy team. And she's part of their team, and they're going to have to defend her no matter what ridiculous thing she might claim. It's interesting that I don't see with this on the right. Like, if you would have, like, let's say one of these MAGA guys saying, yeah, I'm a racist and I support Trump. Like, you would probably see other people from around him saying, like, no, I disavow. Like, okay, this guy doesn't speak for us or something like that. But I genuinely don't see this on the left as much. Like, on the left, they kind of defend each other no matter what ridiculous things they're claiming. I mean, this is my personal observation, at least. So I wanted to share this brilliant jewel with you guys, and tell me about your experience from when you're on Twitter, when you're in the real world, or on a forum, or on Reddit, or someplace like that. And have you not noticed that a lot of people on the left, they put a lot of emphasis on emotions and feelings? And what's interesting about it is that when the Enlightenment came and people were discovering the scientific theory and they were putting all these bases, you have philosophers that are anti-enlightenment, especially in Germany they appear, and they're actually putting this notion that emotions and feelings and spirituality is more important than scientific fact. So I'm curious, like, if you look at the academia, I'm generally curious, like, at the base of progressivism, if this is not an actual thing, like, if this is not something that they might teach in universities, because I'm genuinely curious about it. I'll have to look it up, and I'll make a video and post you the findings that I got. Let me know what you think. I'm looking forward to reading through your guys' comments.